For my underdogs, the ones willing to pay the cost. Even when we're up, we gotta take a loss. Underdogs are always against the odds. I'ma use this opportunity to do it for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. Yeah, my underdogs.
Welcome back to another episode of the Rec Center podcast. Take a minute right now. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel right now. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe so you don't miss any of this wonderful content. I'm Kenny Edwards, joined with my co-host Lorenzo Parham. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Ken, man? Once again, we got another exciting one. We back with another one. I since we got a legend baseball coach, I had tried to throw in this. I got a candy cane shirt on, but he take Oakland right here because he's the Oakland All-Star. It brought me back to all of those days, man. We go unpack that. First, I want to thank our past guest we just had on, Frank Summers, man. Frank had a great interview, man, and he started some stuff in his comment section too with that Skyline debate, man. So that's only right. We followed up with another great episode. It's gonna be history unpacking to hear all of these legends that Coach Mobil Cox have coached, his sons, and what he then went on and do. And Mobil is still around the game, Ken. So I need to know, as a young person myself who's getting ready to, wave my white flag after this season, what keeps Coach Cox going on year after year after year. So we go unpack it. Coach Cox, Coach Mobil, welcome to the Rec Center podcast, man. How you been?
I'm great. Well, thank you, man, Kenny. I appreciate you guys finally getting to me. I've been pretty busy this past year, and I've been looking forward to coming on to unpack a few things and answer a few questions. I'll tell you this, Lo, I love the youth, and I love coaching youth, not only just coaching my son, but guys like yourself, Lo, you and Kenny. I've watched you guys play. See, and I always felt like when I was a kid, if I could offer something to you to help you maybe get a little better, be better, run a little faster, run the routes better, be a better teammate. Those were the things that I always tried to bring to the table. And, the part that's keeping me in the game is I got asked to be a godfather. Maurier Fountain got a chance to lead McClymonds to its first ever state championship, football championship. And I became his godfather at 8 years old, man. So I got right back in the game. So I never really left and carried him on through, of course, till he went to high school and what have you. And then, of course, I've got my son, Aaron Early Sr. with Aaron Early II, which is Deuce. He's now coming through, and I've been a part of his era. So, he's 15 now. He's at McClymonds. So the juices keep flowing, and then, the part that I like is that I got a chance to meet all the different athletes, whether they played for me or didn't play for me. So I know all these different generations, your guys' group, my godson's group, and now I got my grandson's group. So I've watched these boys grow up from T-ball to where they are now. So that's why I'm still in the game. No, that's where I'm still there, man.
I love to hear. One of the greatest honors you just talked about, and I always say this to everyone, one of the greatest honors you could be called on if someone say, can you be my son goddad, right? That's one of the greatest honors because, anybody can't be your son goddad. It ain't one of those, you my friends, I knew you since we was kids, so you my son goddad. It don't work that way, right?
That's
so
right.
To get that honor call, Mo, just goes to talk about, talk about who you are as a person and all of these things you want to help unpack, because I'm still seeing you out there sitting on the bucket catching pitches 5 years ago, right? That type of stuff don't never leave my mind, man. Then when we had Aaron on the show, Aaron did talk about the influence you definitely had on his life. So, Mo, let's start back with, when did you get involved in Oakland Babe Ruth itself?
Well, I originally got involved with Oakland Babe Ruth in '88. I came in for a brief moment, did a little work with a group called the age group. It was like the little young youth baseball team. The guys knew that I had coached, and a friend of mine says, hey, can you come help this team? Because, and I said, yeah, I'll come out and just see what they're doing. I was freshly back from Los Angeles, back in Oakland, and I started coaching this team called the 4-H's. You know, this was early, and they became Royal Coffee, you know, and got a chance to meet a young man. One of my first ever little prospects was a young man named, you know, Andre O'Neill. And great young man, Andre at 10 years old. And, you know, once you lock into a kid, and then we had a couple other kids on the team, you know, Dana Keith Mitchell, you know, Dana Mitchell, you know, he played on that team. And that was the dad. I worked with the dad. And those kids wanted what I had to offer, man. And once you
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Lo.
I'm sorry to cut you off. So just so we could put Ken into perspective, and we're hearing the names out there. When we say Andre O'Neill, are you talking about the one that ended up playing football as a firefighter now? That Andre?
Yes, sir.
Okay, shout out to Andre, man. Shout out to Andre because
shout out to Andre.
I'm coming around. He was at Burris. I think he was at Burris by the time I got around there.
Exactly.
He was at Burris. Okay, continue with the story. I just want to make sure we.
No. I'm glad. Whenever you guys want to clarify, please do. I see Dre all the time. You know, we work out together. See him at the gym. So it's an interesting to watch these young men that, you know, I've touched their lives, and now they're raising their sons and their daughters, like yourself, Bo, and you and Kenny. You guys have families, and now you guys are fathers. You know, and it's amazing to see. You know, like I was with your dad, Kenny, a couple of weeks ago, to see what, you know, the dads have done, you know, for the sons, and now the sons are doing it for their sons and daughters. And I mean, it was amazing. Once I got hooked into Babe Ruth, and then of course I play in Oakland Babe Ruth, you know, that was an easy sell for me, you know, to go back out to Greenman, man. Come on. Just like, you guys want me to go to Greenman and spend some time with the kids? That was easy.
Hey, when you say that, right, you want me to go back outside and spend time with the kids at 88, and here we are 34 years later, right? And I'm still spending time at Greenman with the kids, right? That just goes to the history of what Greenman Field was to all of us, right? To leave, go to LA, come back, and it still get the butterflies and the jitters when you step into Greenman Field, right? We always talk about it. You know, we had played some teams. We had played a Gallagher and Burke or Bar S where you could take it, you could bat on your left this game, right? We had those teams. But for the majority of it, man, you had to bring your A game all the time, man. And I have that history. I mean, it probably died down a little, but which is going through them eras, which era would you say, Coach Mob, had that, hey, you know what? Y'all better bring it this time. We could get upset today if y'all don't bring it.
Well, you know, the era that I was in with Kenny and his group, I mean, every night, everybody could beat everybody in that 12-year-old group. You know, when we were playing that 12-year-old group, you know, there was great games with 790 Dodgers, Taylor Memorial, Allen Temple, you know, because I just got back to that era. So, you know, I'm getting to know these teams and the players, Powell, you know, all these different teams, you know, Crowell. See, so nobody you could actually just take a night off, like you said, except, you know, we did have the Gallagher and Burke, and, you know, they were kind of, you know, an easier, softer team. But if you didn't show up, you know, they could bring it too. You know what I mean? So, I mean, of course, that was a great era when I was coaching. But just to go back, you know, because I just got a chance to spend some time with my little league buddies, you know, Saturday. You know, I'll talk about that a little later. I just recently retired from East Bay Mud, and I had all my buddies back, Lo, and we go all the way back 56 years, man. We go back all the way to when Greenman and Frank Ewell Field were our little league fields. And one of the guys was talking about this. I mean, we had an era where all the guys in my era actually went D1. You know, I mean, that's
unheard of. That's unheard of. Baseball, right? Baseball.
Yes, baseball.
That's unheard of. All
and I could run a name of guys that went D1 on my Legion team. My whole Legion team went D1. I had Gene Ransom in shortstop.
Heard that name.
I had Donnie Gilmore, you know, at second. Albert Champ Richmond went to St. Mary's. Michael Wilson, Michael Wilhite, you know, and that's another young man that you guys would really be impressed with. You know, he went to Ivy League, he went to Columbia. You know, I had Dwayne Wright. St. Mary's had quite a few of our guys. Dwayne Wright, D1 St. Mary's, Jared Martin, D1 St. Mary's, Doobie Isles, William Doobie Isles, D1 St. Mary's, Andre Collins. A lot of you guys may know Dre, 400. Andre Collins, he was a hooper and a baseball player, but he was D1 at St. Mary's. Myself, of course, you know, I'm UCLA bound. Gerald Price, USC, you know, Freddie Atkins, you know, Ricky's great buddy. See, these were all my little league buddies, man. And when you get a chance to read Rick's book, I do a little shout out to his book. Freddie Atkins is in the book, and him and Rick had a real special relationship. You know, of course, you guys know I played with Rick, you know, and that was a high school era. But all the guys in my era were D1 bound, or when the drafts came along, you know, they were all getting drafted, man. You know, we were all playing baseball, dude.
Hey Mo, I do love the shameless plug of the Bruins that you did there. You know, I went to UCLA. You know, I'm a Pac-10 guy, Ken. You know, I don't like the shameless plug here, but it's Mo. We gonna give him that, right? And we know you went to Oakland Tech, right, with Ricky, right?
Yeah.
What was it like though, as being at Tech? You know, you going D1, Rick going to the league. Who, like, was it just scouts there all the time? Was it college coaches there all the time? Was the OAL competitive in baseball back then?
OAL was so competitive in baseball. It was unbelievable. Every team in the OAL had stars. You know, there was no easy team in the OAL. You know, McClymonds brought the boys from West Oakland, you know, the Beeman brothers. We had the boys on the hill at Skyline. You know, my buddy Brian Chapman, God rest his soul, bringing the gas from the hill. We had the brothers over at Castlemont, Fremont. Ojai was bringing it every year. They had, you know, they were TOC bound when they had baseball TOC. And so, you know, we always had great rivals. And then at Tech, you know, Tech just was an all-around good school. You know, you went there, you know, and I'm not trying to knock the other OAL schools, but at Tech, you know, we had great football, we had good basketball, we had good baseball.
It's okay to knock the other schools here on this podcast. I'm knocking other schools with you, Mo. Like,
you know, but back when we were in school, we were tight as an OAL. You know, we hung out together, the fellas hung out together, we partied together, man. We had some great teammates because we knew we were going to play Connie Mack in the summer. You know, we were going to play Legion together. So, you know, back then, you know, we didn't have club baseball, travel ball. You know, everybody's going here. We knew we were going to go play for the NAACP, which is very, very proud to say that I got a chance to play for NAACP and Connie Mack. And I also got the pleasure of playing Berkeley, Connie Mack with Berkeley, my 18-year-old season. And that's when we put together that great team of all those D1 guys, man. And a couple boys from Kennedy. I don't want to leave my Kennedy brothers out. John F. Kennedy, Lance Todell, you know, quarterback, University of Washington, you know, and Donnie Stantz, you know, second baseman out of Kennedy. These guys, we were all going somewhere. We knew when the summer was ending, we were going to our respective schools. But I think what happened, Southern California figured out that we had some Northern California guys that could play baseball, because that was always a big rival, Southern Cal, Northern Cal. And, you know, I went the other way, and, you know, other guys went this way, went to Cal. I went to UCLA, and, you know, they kept saying, where are you from? Where you guys from? Because, you know, there's not a lot of Afro-Americans playing D1 baseball at UCLA at that time. Here I am playing D1, and they want to know where I came from and how did I get a chance to be a starter on a nationally, you know, ranked baseball team and national, you know, baseball team. And I told them, next thing you know, here comes Rick, Gary Pettis, you know, Gary Pettis, my little league buddy, little 39ers. I got to get him a plug. You know, Gary was on that team, you know, when we came through. See, so when you talk about eras, when we came through, we had boys that could get it done, man. You know, we got drafted, we played, you know, we D1, we got drafted. And those are memories that you can't take away from us veteran, OGs now, because it's like you can go back and see your name in this as a draft pick and say, man, look, show my grandson. I said, man, this your pawpaw right here, man. This is when I was kicking up in '78, man. This is what's happening.
That's something I do love that. I harbor on the fact that I am a Division I All-American. It's part of my relay team, but like Coach Bob said, you can't take that away from me.
You cannot.
So Prince gonna be able to Google Prince's son gonna be able to Google his grandpa was a Division I All-American 4x4, and I'm also a Pac-10 champion. I can't say I'm not. Shameless plug for myself too, right there, right? Got to plug myself. But hey, Mo, one of the questions I want to ask, because you touched on you guys at Connie Mac, it wasn't so much of this travel ball. Oftentimes, it takes harder for our older generations to understand what's happening with the time. It's like the person that still got the Android that just refusing to go to the iPhone, right? Mo, how do you feel about what have travel ball have done to like a league like the Oakland Bay Ruth?
Well, I feel like travel ball came as an era where it started off as a showcase. At first, it was a showcase. You had some good athletes, and they were cherry picking who were the better players from Oakland, Berkeley, and they say, "Hey, we're going to do this tournament, perfect game, area codes, all these different venues start popping up." And what it did was, I had guys on my travel ball team getting selected because these guys would come to tournaments and they cherry pick the kids they liked on each team and says, "Hey, we're doing a perfect game tournament. I want to put you on this team." And they just made up the team and they just went and played, Kenny? So that's what they were doing. So, me as a travel ball coach in the mid-2000s, when this thing was taking off, I saw what was happening. And then eventually this thing took off to the point where there was a financial gain. There was money. It was a money maker. It started becoming a means for guys who used to play the game to have jobs and do things like that. And then before you know it, here we are down here at the Junior Olympics. You got 64 teams from across the country, and they were making up travel ball teams for the summer. It stopped being American Legion or Connie Mac. It became club teams. So you're playing teams from Texas, Arizona, Wyoming, Utah. They're all down here at the spring training facilities in Arizona. And then before you know it, it just caught on. It caught on just like basketball caught on. We just didn't have Nike, Adidas, and Puma. Those sponsors sponsoring the basketball, they just sponsored the tournaments, and then you just paid your fee and you went to the tournaments and you got to go. But what happened was they made it exclusive for you to get exposure. If you look at an application now for D1, they'll ask you who were some of the top players you played against this summer, or who you played against. See, so you really needed to say, okay, I know this kid from San Mateo, or I played with this guy down in Southern California when we went to the Junior Olympics. See, when you look at the rosters and you see the guys that were playing when my kids were coming through, when Aaron was playing, and Aaron still talked to some of these guys to this day. These guys were going D1. They had already signed verbal commitments. They had already made verbal commitments to go to schools. See, and the scouts, then another thing, guys, the scouts didn't have to go far. If you put them in that perfect game and you put them in those area codes, they all just showed up there.
Yeah, one location.
Yeah, one location. So it saved them a lot of footwork, a lot of windshield time. So and then of course it just took off.
And something like that would become very, very, very expensive for the parents, right? So this is when we say why a lot of Black kids getting away from baseball type of thing, right? Do it become so not affordable that they just be like, hey, I can't afford to do travel ball and baseball, so let me go play football where, we're not traveling that much, doing all of these things. It's become cheaper. Like, is travel ball kind of weeding out that inner city kid that can't afford it?
I don't, what I would say to that question the inner city kid makes a choice on where he wants to go. See, because the kids are still doing it with basketball. You know, they're still traveling across the country. They're going to the AAU Nationals. They're playing in Las Vegas. They're playing in Reno. They're doing all these travel tournaments. They're still doing it. It's just, it becomes a choice. And one thing I don't want our kids to understand, if you want to play baseball and you may be a better baseball player than a basketball player, and I say this to the parents, to the coaches, don't let them run you out of that game because it's a great game. See, the problem is when you keep repeating something over and over, after a while, people start believing the myth. That is a myth because we are still playing baseball. You know, if you go through across the country, we're still playing, and I wish they would dispel that myth. I think Major League Baseball made a decision and went in another direction. See, and I don't want to get, jump into this controversy because I could be on this show for the next 3 days. but what they did was they just changed the dynamics of the player that they start drafting.
Hey, so I did see that this draft, like the 2nd through the 5th pick, was all African Americans.
Yes,
right?
They realized, hey, wait a minute here. Somebody's bringing this to light, and we need to get back to this. But they should have never left. See, one thing I can say this about my coach from UCLA, and I respect this man like my dad, and I respect him to the utmost. He gave me an opportunity to play when he didn't have to. You know, here I am, a walk-on athlete. I didn't go to school as a scholarship athlete. I went to school academically, and that's another piece I want to talk about the academic side of going to college, being able to go to college and stay in college. But that's the opportunity. You need the opportunity. Someone, you got to give you the opportunity. See, if you ever ask me about they're pricing us out of baseball, I don't agree. Because see, if the parents can pay $200, $300 for those tennis shoes and outfits and clothes and things of that nature, you can pay for a travel ball opportunity, especially if your kid's got the possibilities.
Absolutely.
See, and he's got the IQ to do what it takes to play baseball. Because there's a lot of guys that went the other route because football offered a scholarship, and they got a scholarship in football. But said, if you play baseball in college, you only get partial scholarships at D1.
Right.
They're not giving you full rides.
Right.
See, so that's another thing. See, so that's a combination of both. And I'm here to speak on that because I tell my young kids now, I'm a D1 guy. I know, and I played baseball. We don't have full rides. So if you offer our inner city kid and the mom says, well, the University of California, Los Angeles wants to give my kid a full ride to go to school and play football, but I think he's a better baseball player, but they only want to give him 75%. Where's the other 25 coming from? See, you want that full ride. You want to know the kid's going to get a paid-for education. I think that needs to change. The universities have the money.
Absolutely.
They have the money.
And I think we had a lot of two-sport athletes on here. We had Tubab. Tubab was on here.
Of course.
Tubab. We had Aaron on here.
Yes.
We're going to get Mikey one day. Mikey going to be on here one day, but we had
tell Mikey Coach Mo said he needs to do his job.
Man, we did have. Go ahead.
He's got a message to send, just like when I'm watching all these young guys, you guys, I love your podcast. I love your people that you've brought on, because we got to extend this message. See, if they don't hear from you guys and what you guys have done, see, like you said, your sons and daughters will be able to Google you. They'll say, man, my dad, he did these things. When I introduced Aaron to some of my buddies when he was little, and he was like, man, he said, you really do know Rick. Because, he finally got to meet Rick and all my Dave Stewart. Dave's another one of my little league buddies, but they got Dave right out of high school. They didn't leave him around. They went and got a bunch of these guys out of high school. But what it does is it sends that message, you know, that you can do this too, you know. But I will always push for guys. Don't shy away from, you know, from baseball. Don't buy into this financial thing, because there's ways now to get a hold of money. You can get money. You can get sponsored. You can get a stipend. You know, I've had some great dads and great sponsors who said, "Hey, we'll help this kid out. You know, don't worry about it. We got him." You know, and I'll keep, like I said, I've done the same. You know, I tell them, I've got him. Don't worry about it. His fees are paid. Absolutely. You know, I'll pay his fees to make sure that these kids can get an opportunity. And that's what we need. We've got some great philanthropists, guys who have put forth money to help these kids. So there's ways for them to get in and play. Just don't stop playing. Don't buy into the myth.
How much of that do you blame on, like you were alluding to, Major League Baseball? Because I imagine if I'm 8, 9 years old and you say, hey, you want to play baseball, who do I picture myself as? Because in basketball, you say, hey, I want to be LeBron James. I want to be Steph Curry. I want to be Dame Lillard. Football, I want to be Marshawn Lynch. Baseball, who are you? See,
it's hard to relate now, because even though those young men look like Afro-Americans, they're not.
They're not.
And they're not speaking to this audience. See, so if they're not speaking to the audience, like when you guys came through, Kenny, you and Lowe, Ken Griffey, you know, we were wearing those high top cleats,
right?
And all the boys would call them Griffies,
right?
Mm-hmm. See, there was a connection, and when you did the head first slide, you know, that was called a Ricky.
A Ricky,
yeah. See, there was a connection. See, you knew who Rick was. You seen him, you heard him. You know, the Willie McGee's, the Ricky Hendersons. See, and in my era, I come through and Joe Morgan's wearing number 8. He's playing the infield. That was my guy. That's the number I wore. Willie Mays, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. You know, he just come on and make his little commercials and say, hey, kid. And you could relate to Willie Mays, to Reggie Jacksons. You could relate to these guys. You know, we grew up right down the street, guys. We had the A's right here in our backyard, you know, and you knew those guys. See, now you could name a handful of guys on the A's right now if you wanted to.
I was just having that conversation. I was just having that conversation with my brother, because he's a baseball guy.
Yes.
I'm like, bro, I probably could name 3 guys on the A's right now. And I can't name 5 African-American players in the whole. Like, I think I know Tim Anderson just because of the recent
stuff.
Superstar
shortstop. Yes.
Yeah. I know Mookie Betts, obviously.
Yes, of course. And you know,
but
Mookie
after that,
was wearing the shirt the other day.
We need
and
more.
And what I would say to these guys, they need to meet with guys like yourselves, come down to the inner city. I welcome any conversation with Major League Baseball, because I speak the language. I'm old enough to go through all these different genres, and I've seen what has taken place. And I'm not here to bash MLB, but you guys have left us out. If you want us back in, you got to let us come in. We got to have a seat at the table. Mm-hmm. You know, and I mean a seat at the table. I'm not saying just one guy. We've got to be fair. You know, that's why you got to just be fair. If you're fair about it, let the chips fall where they fall. You know, everyone, it'll be a diverse group. See, we're still talking about diversity and inclusion in 2022. Correct. Come on now.
But one thing I want to give a shout out to is that we still have some parents, like you said, sticking with the baseball. I want to give a shout out to Rashad Hayes. Rashad's son played. Awesome. He's at Bishop O'Dowd. He's committed to Stanford before his season even started. He committed to Stanford, right? We have a guy I know, Dave Bernstein. He's a Vallejo legend. His son just committed to Cal for baseball before he even started the season, right? And I just saw on social media, they went to this Hank Aaron African-American like cap thingy, right? And it looked so dope seeing so many African-American and the players there that was giving back to try to keep us inclusive in baseball, right? Yes. I have another homeboy, his son named Jacob Gray. Jacob Gray been killing it, and he's coming up next too. So I'm excited to where all these they stuck with the plan, right? They stuck with it because when you're not seeing too much of us in it, it's easy for a kid to be like, hey, ain't nobody looking like me. I'm ready to go the opposite way type of thing, right? But I'm glad that they sticking with it, and I'm glad that baseball did the Hank Aaron thing because it made me excited. I wanted to go there just to watch. I don't got a kid playing baseball. I want to just watch because I like that type of stuff is fabulous to me, right? The kids, when you talked about the education, kids commit to Stafford, kids commit to Cal, right? So I do want to go back to what you were saying, how your education is how you was able to walk on at UCLA, right? So what was it like? What was your grade point average like coming out of high school, getting accepted into UCLA, coming from tech and all of that?
Well, at that time, see, I had AP courses. I was in a program called MESA. You guys call it STEM now. But we call it MESA, Math, Engineering, Science, and Achievement. STEM is the science, same concept, science, technology, engineering, and achievement, math. So in other words, I went to school to be an engineering major. So, I was math. I was 3.5, GPA with AP courses. So a good student athlete. So I was able to get into all the UC system schools. I accepted UCLA. That's where I wanted to go subsequently. So that's where I ended up going. And so that's what paved the way for me to have the opportunity. But, back to, what you were saying with these young guys now getting a look. I said this years ago, West Oakland, the Robinson brothers and Veda Pinson and all those guys that came out of West Oakland and Oakland in the early years. Why can't we have the Hank Aaron or the Willie Mays type tournaments here in the Bay Area? We're a baseball mecca. If you look at the history of these guys who came out of here and played, those guys should have put something together before they disappeared. Frank Robinson is still present. We got the Ricky Hendersons, we got the Dave Stewarts. We could put it right here at the Coliseum. We have an opportunity to do more Hank Aaron venues. That's how Perfect Game, what I was telling you, that's how the club stuff started. The showcase started. They started with a small venue and then it expanded. See, and what I'd love to see when they built the academy down in Southern California, see, they put the baseball academy in Southern California. I felt like it should have been built here in Northern California because we had more professional athletes come out of our era, just as many as Southern California did. And then I would eventually say to everyone in MLB, we should have in these type of cities a baseball academy in all these cities.
Got it.
Because
Absolutely.
You have the funding. If a guy, that's why I say, if you put me on this soapbox, I've thought about this for 66 years, guys. If you got enough money to pay a guy $400 million, and I don't think no baseball player in Major League Baseball is worth $400 million because you're not doing no more, your numbers are no higher than the good athletes, 300, 3,000 hits, 500 home runs. You're hitting 300. Nobody's hitting 400. Nobody's got 1,000 home runs. You're still a good baseball player, but there's enough money, for you to do this. See, there's a lot of money in MLB. There's a lot of money.
Oh, we see, which
is why I'm okay with encouraging our kids.
Yes,
we see it. We do see it.
That's why I told
Let's
you
not
guys
go
earlier,
play for $2 million and bang our heads and get CTE. Let's go get $400 million and sit in the outfield and eat sunflower seeds.
And eat sunflower seeds.
15 years of doing
For 15 years. And then be a DH.
Career. Easy career.
Easy career.
And I will still push that. I've got the juice to want to push that. I'm willing to welcome any conversations moving forward, but I don't want to have committees or meetings. I'm a solution guy. See, if you want to get something done, let's go get it done. Cut the check. Let's find a facility, put it together. Next year, let's have another classic, but let's have it in Oakland, California. You want to have a classic, let's have it right here in the Bay where all these guys came from. Let's have so we can do it across the country.
I like
we
that.
can go across the country. You can have a classic. You can do it across the country. You have the opportunity to showcase. Listen to the guys that you just mentioned, these young guys, that you just mentioned. They can do it in their backyard. Why do we got to go to Southern California for the area codes when we can do the area codes right here in Northern California? We can have the Willie Mays Classic. Willie Mays is from right here. If we don't do it here, let's go over to AT&T Park. We do it for Willie Mays, because that's a great man. Willie Mays, if you ever get a chance to read his book, read how he came through and what he had to do to endure. Reading Ricky's book, same thing. I'm doing plugs for these guys, but these are things you got to read so you know the history.
Absolutely.
Reading Ricky's book, I was in the history. See, I'm reading this book, so it's kind of nice to read the stories about Bushrod and Golden Gate and Oakland Tech and the journey that he took to get to where he got to. But that's what we need. See, we need that. See, this way the kids will say, "Hey, MLB is bringing us back." See, I don't want to hear we got too many people willing to take a side and says, "Oh, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that." If you've never played the game, if you've never been involved in Major League Baseball, you really can't make a voice about what's happening with the youth. If you've never coached youth sports, and you guys have coached youth sports, see, you have your finger on the pulse of your kids. See, you know what these kids are doing. See, you have a better voice than a guy who's never coached youth sports. You don't know what these kids are thinking. See, you know what your son's thinking. When you riding home, me and Aaron used to ride home from the games, and I just let him talk. I didn't critique the game. Tell me what you think.
Well, knowing Aaron, you didn't have to force him to talk.
Hey, I tell him now, Aaron, you got 2 minutes. but his knowledge that he gained by me and him sharing the history, what we should be doing. So when he got a chance to coach his son and other guys' sons, and I say this all the time, we're teammates. Once the game's over, we're teammates. See, and that's one of the things I try to instill with all my guys. You guys are gonna play together someday. What about when we make all-stars? We're gonna go at it on the field during the season, but postseason, we Oakland. Yeah. When we leave here, we Oakland. They only know us as Oakland. It ain't no AT, there ain't no clean scene. There's no Allen Temple, there's no Crowell, there's no Gallagher and Burke. We Oakland.
I wasn't no Gallagher and Burke on the All-Star anyway, but hey, Mo,
thanks for being nice.
Hey, Mo, let me back you up now. Let me get back to it because you brought up Aaron and things like that. And when you first started coaching at Babe Ruth, did you know instantly? All right, when did you realize that Aaron was going to be as good as he was in sports?
I met Aaron, and I met my lovely wife. His mom when Aaron was 10. Karen, I met Karen. Aaron was 10. Didn't coach the first year. I got a chance to go watch him play in the All-Stars. And I told Karen then, because Aaron didn't know I played. For a while, Aaron didn't realize I played ball. He didn't know. I kept that from him. I was just basically being there as a mom's in a relationship with his mom. And so I'm watching him play, and I remember telling his mom, I said, Aaron got a great skill set. He's a good athlete. He's got good instincts. He's a good center fielder. He's a good outfielder. He gets a good jump on the ball. He can hit, he can swing it. But he had a good IQ. So he understood the game, where you need to be, where you're supposed to be. And then I watched him play football, the youth football, great hands, good balance, could run the ball, good vision, and so as he got older, eventually I started helping out a little bit at 11, switch hit him at 11. And then it took hold when he was 12. By the time he was 12, I knew he could get it done. Wow. See, by the time Aaron hit 12, he's roaming center field. He's catching anything that's hit. He's hitting the ball out of Greenman. He wasn't a big guy, but he's swinging hot lumber, down at Greenman. And when he hit the first one out of Greenman, it's like, wow, it even surprised him. But he just got better as he got older. And the thing is, and I say this again, Kenny, Aaron bought into what I was selling. When he found out that I played, and he found that out on an accident, Coach Hank, Antoine's dad, coached me. He coached NAACP, God rest his soul. Loved the man to death. Antoine and Aaron were tight buddies. I didn't realize they were that tight of buddies, and he kept mentioning this little kid named Antoine. And I go, God, I know this kid. And he says, yeah, and Coach Hank's his dad. When he mentioned Coach Hank, I went, wow, this is going to be a trip when Aaron finds out that I played for Coach Hank. And he goes up to the house one day, and make a long story short, Hank takes him down in the basement and starts showing him all these pictures of all the guys who played for him. And he says, hey, that's my mom's boyfriend's name, Mobil. And Hank told him the rest of the story after that. So Aaron comes home and see, Lo, that's how he bought in. Once he found out I played for Coach Hank, man, I got my street cred. I was like,
you got stamped. They stamped you. You got stamped.
I had some credibility because he was like, man, you played for Coach Hank? I said, yeah, I did a little something. He said, Coach Hank told me you did somebody. And, we're having the kid, adult conversation. And so, and everything I started teaching him, he started buying into it. And he started seeing it, was helping him get better. And then, of course, go back to the academics. I told him, you got to have the books if you're going to play sports, because a lot of guys forget that piece. They'll coach somebody else's kid. They just want him for the athletic ability, and they don't ask the kid whether he's getting good grades in school or not.
Hey, Coach Mo, Coach Hank is legendary. What was it like playing for Coach Hank?
He was Bobby Knight rolled into a baseball coach, man.
Bobby Knight rolled into a baseball coach.
Hey, Hank was tough. He wanted it done the right way. You couldn't turn your hat around backwards. He in this era right now, he go crazy because it's a style. To wear your cap backwards. The only guy he let wear his cap backwards is me because I was a back catcher. And he said, but as soon as you get up to the plate, you better turn that hat around. Got to wear your belt. He'd have had a hard time with the guys who wanted to sag. Couldn't play for him. Cleats had to be polished, but that was my dad's thing. My dad was big on cleats polish, so it was easy for me to polish my cleats. Aaron will talk about that. Guys talk about that now. Back when we all wore black cleats, we had that shoe polish going. You polish your cleats. But Coach Hank was very serious about taking care of the youth, man. He'd pick you up. Yeah. He'd drop you off. He'd feed you. He was a hardworking man. He was a family man. He was raising his family. See, and that's what I'm saying about you guys. You guys are hardworking young men. We're raising families and we're coaching and we're doing all this. And guys used to say, well, how can you do all this and coach? I say, for the love of the kids, man, in the community. Hank was out there, man. He dragged the fields. He'd open the gates up, put the chains on the back of his truck. He'd drag the fields. We always had our field drug. Always. At Bushrod, we never had played on, where the field looked like somebody had been on it for days. That man really poured his heart into us doing what we did, and when I got a chance to come back and coach with him, along with Mr. Howard Best, he was around back in the day, got to coach with him, and I got a chance to pay homage to him at his service with his family. And I say this to you guys, and I said it to his family, thank you for allowing your dad to be out here for us. I say, you gave him permission to be out here. The wives, when you speak to the wives, and I say this to you guys who have wives, you guys have wives, the mothers of your children, you got to take care of them, man. Because see, while you out there, see, and Ricky's wife, Pam, talks about it in the book, see, because while Rick gone, she taking care of home. She raising the kids. You're out there, you coaching, we're out there coaching and we're out there, we're gone or we're playing, we're the players, we're on the road, we're traveling, moms, the wives are at home. They're taking care of business. You know, so I told Karen, I says, hey, you're taking care of business. I got you. When it's your time, I got you. I'm not gonna slip on that. You know, because Coach Hank's wife, that's the one thing she told me. She was like my second mom, man. She goes, Big Mo, she said, whatever you do, don't miss those special events. He said, because if you miss them, you can't get them back. You know, I mean, it was such a close-knit situation. They taught us family. They taught us, you know, that we're family. Hank had, you know, sons who played with some of his sons, you know, great athletes. You know, we're still friends to this day, great relationships, you know, but he gave a lot of himself. You're going to miss some things, you know, especially when you start winning. You know, when you start winning, you're traveling.
Uh-huh.
You know, you're traveling. You're not home. So you got to make sure you take care of the wife before you leave.
Absolutely.
That was a message right there.
Hey, definitely. For all the coaches. And you know what? We had Coach Alonzo Carter on who said some of the similar things that he missed out a lot on because his sons didn't play sports. But while he was giving, like Coach Zoe went from football to track years. And he's like, you know, I missed a lot with my children by doing all of that, right? So he implored us when we need to take a break, come back with it. But same thing you saying, don't miss the milestone things that Coach Hank's wife told you, because you can't get certain things back that you miss out on. So definitely that is a message in a word. But Coach Mob, I hate to be the messy one on the show, but I'm the messy one on the show, right, Mob? So I need you to do this favor for me, right? First, I need you to pick your top 3 Oakland Babe Ruth players you saw. Then I'm going to have you pick another section of things. But who were your top Oakland 3 Babe Ruth players you saw throughout the eras while you was coaching?
Oh, wow. That's tough because I got a lot of bias. I saw a couple of them today. The other day on Saturday. I'm going to say this because I'm biased, but the fellas would all agree to me. Well, I'll go outfield, infield, maybe pitcher and catcher. Let me try to do it that way.
Okay.
I coached some good all-star teams. So I got a chance to see some talent from all the other different teams. I say the best outfielder across the board, the guys would agree with me, was Aaron, you know, my own son. Mm-hmm. I still got to take Cesar at shortstop because I watched him make all tournament shortstop in the World Series. But I'm going to give an asterisk for Lee Franklin. You know, God rest his soul. You know, Frank made all tournament shortstop at 12. He's an unbelievable player. And then, of course, with Aaron in the outfield was Antoine, because he was just an amazing player. Kid was amazing at that age. He was the most outstanding player in the World Series at 13. And Ilario Vital, Red, outstanding player at 12 years old, best pitcher. At coming through on the mound, when I went to championship game, Red through championship game, you know, backed by Darrell Smith. And I got to give 2 of my catchers. I can't, you know, it's hard to go with one catcher over the other. Reggie Sullivan and Jamal Chase.
Okay.
See, yes. I mean, I got to do it that way. I'm a coach. See, and trying to just won because I won with them.
Let's see if Ken feel the same. Ken, who the top 3 you saw during the time at Babe Ruth? Your time.
My top 3 that I saw. Mikey, Ray Young, Atari Callan, maybe.
Okay, shout out to Atari Callan. He's going into the De La Salle Hall of Fame this weekend.
Nice.
As a De La Salle Hall of Famer. Yeah. Nice. And we talking about who we saw. You said Atari you saw in the Oakland Babe Ruth with all the athletes, and here he is going to the Hall of Fame as a football player. That just goes to show how athletic he was.
I'm lying. My bad. I'm lying. Antoine Thomason is the best player I've ever seen.
Okay.
on the Babe Ruth level.
Yes.
Okay.
Ray Young and Mikey. I got to take
Okay.
Atari off. Yeah. I forgot about Twan. Twan is by far the best
So-
little league player I've ever seen.
So I got to go Jimmy Rollins. I got to go
I never
Jimmy.
saw Jimmy.
That was my era.
I
Jimmy,
never-
Right. I
that was
never
my
saw
era.
Jimmy.
I go
Right.
Jimmy. And in this list, as if like Mo said, I do got a little bias in my list because a lot of things is what I saw, and then most of them is who I played with and who I had to play against. Like
Yeah.
I knew if I play against them, he gonna be on the mound and I'm gonna be on the mound. I'm gonna throw him curves because he might hit my shit out if I leave something hanging, right? So
Right.
definitely I gotta go Jimmy. Jimmy was scared us all from that 12-year-old mound when he pitched. Definitely Mikey. Mikey. Mikey was more versatile than a lot of the other 12-year-olds. He can pitch, play first base, shortstop, and catcher. So Mikey was up there. And I would be a hater if I didn't say Twan. I thought about it. I'm like, man, I could go, but then it's something that's a little older, like Tony Johnson's and them and Omari Murphy's. Like I was young when they was playing Tony Johnson's, Omari Murphy's, and them dudes hitting the ball to the village constantly, right? So I got them dudes in there. Even Tavaro McIntyre, T-Mac, like I watched T-Mac was the only one that wasn't afraid of hitting against CeCe Sabathia. Yeah. CeCe Sabathia and the Stars going 88 back then, and we 13, 14. So CeCe is up there. Keon Davis gets the honorable mention. I gotta get Kiki.
And it's interesting. That's why I say, because you have to go honorable mentions. I mean, there are guys, you just brought up a guy that I saw back in 88, because I was only in Babe Ruth for a short time, was Omari Murphy.
Omari, absolutely.
This kid's on the mound throwing 70 miles an hour from a 12-year-old mound. Absolutely. I mean, he was like a man playing against boys.
So
let's just, before we get cussed out on Instagram, I just want everybody to know these are the players we actually saw. Yeah. So don't come on there talking about what somebody did in 65. I didn't see them.
Okay, so now Mo, we got that part out the way. You went with your top three, you named them. Now here I go. I gotta put this spot one more time, right? You, Coach Mo, I'm giving you an era from 88 to whatever period you want to pick, right? And you picking your all-time all-star team to go to all-star travel with, right? Who is your top 9 you picking? And you can go position. You could be like, pitcher, I'm putting him on the mound. I'm putting this person at first base. I'm going there.
But you only got 9.
Only get 9.
Only get 9.
I would do start bench cut, but then you might get the phone call you might not like, Mo.
Most of us know where you live, so we don't want to
get some phone calls anyway. But everybody knows, I'm biased to my World Series guys. Okay. Because I saw those guys do it at a high level.
Got it.
You go around the horn. One of the guys that, I just saw him Saturday, Haley Winters hit 4 for me playing left field.
Okay.
We had him in right field, but he would be in right field for me. Of course, Aaron and Antoine. I'd have to put Antoine in left. I'll leave Aaron in center. So I can't take him off. I'm going Cesar at shortstop and Don in second base. I can't take Don off the field. Marquise Pettis. Okay. I got to put Marquise at first base. Probably one of the best first basemen we got a chance to see. Of course, I mentioned Ilario Vital, Red on the mound, pitching, he was one of the best I saw. I'll tell you another kid I saw that, he pitched well. I saw him at his 12 years old, and that was Scooby. Scooby would get it done as a 12 when Aaron was 11. I got to give JR a nod in the infield. I'll put him at third. He's got to get in the infield with me. I mentioned my 2 catchers. I went with Jamal Chase as one and Reggie Sullivan as the other coming through. And then I'm going to go with a second pitcher. I told you guys I met Andre O'Neill when he was 10. And when I met him in 88, he could get it done. You know, I was so impressed with him as a young man. He can get it done. And I mean, of course, there's gonna be guys say, well, coach, what about me? What about this person, that person? But I mean, it's hard to pick 9 when we had a lot of all-stars. We had a lot of great players, you know, a lot of kids. But during the era when I had my group, I'd play that 9. I'd go with you with that 9.
That's a hell of a 9.
It's a good 9.
It's a hell of a 9, but it's a but there. It's definitely gonna be a but there because you can help the whole. We had Twan on the show, and Twan say, "Hey man, I don't know, man. He might have been a little better than JR at shortstop." Says Cesar, right? What made you put JR at third and not at short? What made you not reverse the 2? What was what were the intangibles that one may have had that the other? What were the intangibles?
I just thought overall, Gerald was a good infielder, great hands. I thought C had more pop. I thought he had more power because C did hit the long ball. Got to see him more. Of course, they had good equal speed. Range was comparable. But I just it's just something about what like when you're coaching a kid and you're with them on a regular basis and you see what they're giving you. That's why he gets the nod. I'm quite sure if his dad, Coach Sam, was on, he'd go the other way because he spent more time watching his son do the X's and O's. But I also got a chance to watch JR because he was always with Aaron as they came through. So I got to give him a nod in the infield. But those 3, and then Don, you know, at second, you know, hey, one of the best young hitters I ever seen. You know, he was one of the first kids I asked Aaron when I saw him play at 10. I said, "Who is that kid right there?" I said, they never got him out. But I
think Don is one of the most underrated Babe Ruth players.
You think so? Don name always rung bells though, Ken. It's like
I feel like nobody brings his name up.
Don broke his arm, 12-year-old World Series. I put him in the game. We removed the cash. He hit a 250-foot jack with one arm.
Yeah,
I put him on the roster. Underrated. I kept him on the roster, even though he got injured, because he could still play the outfield as good as anybody else. He was as fast as anybody else. He'd catch the ball and take his glove off, toss it to the Antoine, and we keep him moving. And when he finally got the cast off, he could hit with the best of them. You know,
I think Don's problem was he played with Antoine all the way up.
Yes.
So he got a little bit overshadowed.
Right. He got overshadowed.
Would that be the same as was Keith with them? Was Keith?
I think Keith was with Allen Temple, but the All-Star team.
The All-Star team. So it's Keith, and Durant, right?
Keith was one of my favorites.
I think Durant was with like.
See, Keith played third.
Okay. Keith played third.
And I had to, you know, like I said, but you know, I don't, like I said, it's not leaving any kids out. I could go down the list because Keith was with Aaron and them. He was another kid. I said to Aaron, I said, he the truth. I said, I watched him play. I said, that kid was very talented. He was very talented third baseman.
Daryl Smith was great on that.
Daryl Smith.
So let me ask you something, Mo. So we know Aaron. You had Aaron in these are top 9. You had Aaron, Chase, and Cesar. Cesar went to Tech as well, right?
Yeah. Cesar did too. All 3 of them.
All of them with the Tech, right? Was it some type of pack coming up out of this? Like, hey, we'll go to Tech, or did that just happen?
Well, if you notice, Aaron's 10th grade year, I coached baseball with Gene.
Okay.
First time I ever decided to coach high school baseball. And I'll tell you why I did it in the 10th grade instead of the 9th grade. I'm not a bandwagon coach. I knew Aaron and them were going to win the Trans Bay. I saw Mikey play.
Oh, yeah.
I saw the twins. I saw Dion on the mound. I mean, I watched that team. And at that time, my team was kicking up dust in Babe Ruth because Aaron was 15. See, so I got a chance to see him. And then I had a lot of respect for Coach Gene Denard. When I met Gene, that's who I wanted my son to play for. And that's why I told the guys, not because I went to Tech, it's because I thought Tech offered the best opportunity for those guys, baseball-wise. And I told Gene, I says, I'm not going to coach this year, but 10th grade year, you're going to need me because you're going to want those 10th graders to carry the team because, you know, they were losing all those seniors.
They're losing all the seniors, right.
So I told him I'll be there because somebody had to be there to keep Aaron, you know, keep Aaron's conversation at a certain level because Aaron would take over the meetings. You know, he'd take over the post game, you know, but anyway, but no, I was there basically because I wanted to basically be there to support him. And I was trying to get some of my other kids to go there too, but they split up. You know, some went to Castle, some went to Tech, but I wanted them to come with me, but I couldn't convince their parents to come with me. But anyway, like I said, it's, you know, they made the decisions that they made, you know, and the guys that went to Tech, you know, everything turned out well for all of them as a whole. So, you know, but Aaron and them got a chance to experience, you know, the Trans Bay. Aaron did. So it was a good experience for him.
Absolutely, man. I've just thought about that. And like we just said earlier, no knock on anyone that wasn't on any of these lists. We had a lot of great ball players coming out of our era, our area, not our era, just our area alone. There's so much talent in the city of Oakland. And that's how, you know, people get jaded about not being on this list. I realize, hey, nobody never picked me on a list.
Yeah, I'm like, we did a quarterback list and I didn't get picked. It's like, it's all good, man.
I don't make none of the list. It's okay, right?
Somebody cannot take away the fact that out of that list, I went D1. But it's okay. It's okay. Don't put me on the list. It's okay.
Right.
Well, you know, and then it just comes down to who you're interviewing.
That's
who you're interviewing, what era.
Saw. Yeah.
You know, Antoine started it. See, he messed up and he started this Cesar thing, but I couldn't go against him.
Right.
Because Aaron saw Cesar do some stuff, man, on a diamond, big diamond, little diamond. He did it at a high level. You know,
and when you win the whole thing, it's kind of hard to.
It's hard to take away from those kids.
Yeah, they be trying to say 96 Oakland High and Marshawn Ferris, and I'm like, but they didn't win the chip.
They didn't.
Yeah,
did you win the chip?
When you win the whole thing,
everybody wins.
You're close to the guys that were part of that team.
Absolutely. Hey Mo, let me ask you a question. What was the biggest game you coached in? Like, what was the biggest game? Like, you know what? Not like one of those. We're in a championship. One of those. We down 3 in the 9th inning, but we came back. Like, what was the biggest game? You like, hey, that game, I still could remember vividly what the time was on the clock, when the sunset came in. Like, what kind of a game you got like that? Was the biggest game?
I'll give you 2 games. In the 96 World Series, game 2, we playing Kennewick, Washington, and they blowing us out. Antoine hurt his arm. So now, you know, it's all this confusion. They're up like 5-2. See, we're now on the verge of them, man, this is tough. It's second, third inning. So when Aaron, you know, Antoine's arm went down, so I go to Lee Franklin to relieve. So I move Antoine to first, and the umpire tells me, well, you got to take him out the game if he hurt. I said, I don't have to take him out the game. I say his arm's hurting him, but I don't have to take him out. I told him, I says, I'm leaving Antoine in. I said, because he going to come. I said, because at some point in time, we're going to need him to bring us back. You know, because Antoine can hit the ball out at any time. So Kennewick's over there, you know, they're having a great time because they think they're going to upset the Oakland team. I'll fast forward. Ilario Vital, at that time, he was Ilario Baloney. Red hits a 2-run jack. He brings us back. Antoine comes up. Same kid they wanted me to bench. He hits a 2-run jack. We go up 6-5. Bottom of the 6th, I believe. Antoine's playing first base. We have a wild pitch. The pitcher and the catcher run for the ball. The kid thinks home plate's free. Antoine comes down from first base, covers home plate, and tags him out. Then we win the game. We beat Kennewick.
Wow.
So we went on to win the World Series.
Wow.
We go second We in the third game of the 13-year-old World Series. You guys probably know this young man named Lorenzo Gladney. He played for the Bulldogs. I brought him along because he could hit our pitch. And he did exactly what I needed him to do. Mississippi's beating us, Blacksburg's beating us, and nobody's can hit this pitcher. I bring in Lorenzo Gladney as a pinch hitter with men on second and third. He lines a base hit up the middle and busts the game wide open. You know, drive in 2 runs, and we win the ball game. Haley Winters was the best pitcher in that tournament. We go on to win that tournament, and we end up winning the World Series. 2 key games where it looks like we were done, and hey, the kids came through. They'll tell you they came through. But those are 2 of the most highlighted games that I can talk about. And in the only other game, Daryl Smith will let you know, we played Glen Allen, Virginia, in the 3rd game of that 12-year-old tournament. Daryl had a no-hitter going into the 6th inning. He threw a 5-inning and 2/3 no-hitter. He said one guy got a hit, and then he got the next guy out.
It wasn't a bunt. It wasn't a bunt base hit, was it?
No, he got a base hit.
Okay.
Right.
Got a base hit.
5 2/3.
Yeah.
5. What was the score?
2-0.
Oh, it was still a close game. It was still a close game. So it was still close. It was still close.
Close game.
Mo, what you just said in all of those stories just goes back to the Oakland kid and the resiliency and the never give up story, right? That's Oakland.
Right.
Like I when you said the stories, I'm vividly in my I'm cheering as you talk about Red home run and the other kid home run. I'm cheering like I can see it so clear in my mind, man. And to say that you got to witness all of these things happening, and you got to see a lot of these kids that was really, really good in baseball that went on to high school and do wonderful in whatever respective sport that they chose, right? And we talk about Aaron, right? So Aaron, a hell of a baseball player, but he went crazy in football in high school. What was that like as the dad sitting in the stands while he going crazy? I know Aaron told a story where mom, shout out to Miss Karen, was on some, boy, you better not get hurt. I'm taking you out because we got the baseball going to Canada. That's something to do, right? But what was it like as the dad while he's doing this? The dad and the coach?
Well, you know, I played football at Tech. And so I've always loved football. You know, baseball was my game. Football, I love football. So when Aaron was 15, me and him had when he finished up with the Oakland Saints, I said, Aaron, you know you're playing JV ball at Tech, 9th grade. You know, Aaron wanted to play one more year at Oakland Saints. I said, can't let you do that, man. I said, right now you got to step up. I said, you're going to have to play men against boys. You got to go to that next level. And if you don't do it now, you never will. So Aaron got there 9th grade, fell in love with Coach O'Keefe. You know, Coach O'Keefe, you know, gave him an opportunity. And they gave him an opportunity. See, that's what I mean by if you give the kid an opportunity to run the ball, catch the ball, and do the things you need to do, you never know where success is going to come. And see, all I did with Aaron in football is just tell him to set goals. You know, set goals. Don't settle for 1,000 yards. If you want Ricky's record, then you got to set your goals higher. I said, you got to go to work. You want to go both ways. You know, I told him, make sure you got to eat well. Get them carbs in your system. So he started eating, I think, French fries and spaghetti at lunchtime. So he had carbs to burn so he could go both ways. You know, because Aaron was playing on the field. You know, Lo, you guys were on the field, you know, going both ways. You got to be able to, you got to be able to burn those carbs. You know, Kenny, you were a two-way player. You know, you played, but then you played all 3 sports. So you got to have energy to be able to go from one to the other. Yeah. But I enjoyed watching them play football, you know, especially punt return. You know, because he could do some things in the punt return. He's got great vision. His son's got the same vision that Aaron has. You know, his little son, Deuce. Deuce has unbelievable vision. Aaron used to do some cutbacks and get to the house, and I'd be like, how did he get out of there? Because all of a sudden you see everybody around him, and then here comes this little number 4, coming out of the pile up, and he's heading to the house.
Yeah.
But I basically told him to set goals. Football was nice for me because I got the chance to watch. Kenny Lowe, I was a dad.
But did you tell Karen, like, hold on, baby, it's okay, he's gonna be all right? What you telling Karen, Miss
all
Karen,
the time?
It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right.
Yeah. Every time he'd go down and say, you can't go on the field. He's gonna be okay. There's a difference between getting dinged up or getting injured.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we talk about with all of the two-way guys that played sport when the recruiting started, right? And we talked to them about being so good in both sports hurt recruiting in one sport over the other. Did you guys experience that with Aaron as well? Like, did once being so good in both, did it hurt like baseball schools, or did the football schools be like, I know he go choose baseball, so let's not even shy with that?
The two sports, it got down to which one he decided he wanted to do. Of course, I thought he was a better baseball player, but he had some good opportunities. And as it turned out, he ended up finishing up playing baseball. He really wanted to play football. But like you guys know, we talk about baseball, the longevity, we felt like baseball was his best way to go. His best opportunity, to play. And he eventually ended up playing, at CC and ended up finishing up at, Cal State East Bay, So I think overall, and that's what you got to come to the decision. You as a parent and as a kid, you got to look at with the kid's best opportunity. See, what you think he's going to excel at or she's going to excel at best. See, because it's going to come. And then you got to also look at, you got a lot of great opportunities playing baseball. A lot of great opportunities. So baseball, when he fell into it, it was a win-win. It was an easy move.
Got it. Absolutely. Another question I got, and I hate to be messy. I hate to be the messy one on the show, Coach Mo, but I got a question right now. As a coach, right? You a coach. Your team won the league, and you get to pick any two more. You get to pick any two more baseball coaches to be on your staff, right? What two baseball coaches you choosing to come with you?
Well, Hank was with me on both of them.
Okay, so you take.
So I got to take Big Dog with me.
Okay.
And there's another coach that coached me when I played, and I would take him with me in a heartbeat, and that's Jesse Wyatt.
Okay. He coached you when chance. He coached you when you played with Hank.
Yes.
He
coached when I was playing.
Okay.
I would go get Jesse, and I'd go get Hank.
Okay, absolutely. Okay.
Those two guys, because the one thing I'll tell you about Jesse Wyatt, Jesse had Broadway Ford, he had Thrift Savings, he had some great teams. If you ever get a chance to sit down and get him on your podcast, that would be a great podcast. He was back when we were playing at Frank Ewell Field. See, he ended up, Gary Pettis and those guys went to Jesse's team. But Jesse would always pick me because they used to win, but he'd pick me as a catcher. He was a great coach. So I got a chance to play for him at All-Stars. See, and that's what I mean by you never know, when the postseason comes, the relationships you build with the coaches. But that would be my veteran coaching staff. Those would be the guys I'd go with.
You got to take Hank anyway, because in the foxhole down south or the Midwest, when them, get to tripping, you gonna want Hank with you.
So Ken, what two coaches you taking with you? Either Oakland Bay Roof or basketball that you done played with? What two coaches, pick a sport, and the two coaches you taking to coach with you?
Baseball is easy, man. Coach Mack and Coach Jeff. That's easy.
Are you taking the coaches that coach judo? Or you didn't see none outside the league that was like, hey, I wouldn't mind coaching with that guy?
Plenty of guys I wouldn't have mind playing for, but we won a lot of trophies together. So like Coach Mobil said, when you won with somebody, I mean, it's hard to go away from that because that was the formula.
Yeah, but I'm definitely taking Coach Jackie. I'm definitely taking Coach Jackie.
I won a 13s championship with Coach Jackie.
I'll take Coach Jackie with me. but I also take Eddie Abrams, right? Because Coach Eddie Abrams, like I never got to play for Eddie Abrams, right?
And that's why I ain't taking him, because I never got to play for Eddie Abrams.
Eddie Abrams embodied, his team embodied what the stuff I like. We go get four different uniforms. And
he coached Calipari.
Go get that. He was the first one that came back with the fitted cap. Everybody has snapped. Duvernay was the first. I want to watch. He coached like I am. I'm taking Eddie Abrams.
He's a player's coach.
I got to bring Eddie Abrams with me, and definitely Coach Jackie, right? And we have some other great coaches that I'd be like, oh man, I wouldn't mind playing with. I wouldn't mind playing. I never played for Gene before. I wouldn't mind playing for Gene.
See, I never played for Eddie, but Coach Jeff. So if you let's say you like a rating 1 through 10, right? So let's say you like a 6 player. Coach Jeff gonna make you feel like an 8.5. You know what I'm saying? And that was the one thing that like Coach Jeff would just have you playing probably better than you really were.
Right. He get the best out of his players. He get
the best out of his players. And then Coach Mack just had that. He was the discipline. He was the X's and O's. He set the lineup. You know, when you get 3 outs and you come sprinting off the field and you meet in front of the dugout, that was Coach Mack. Hit the ball, step up in the plate, whatever. That was Coach Mack. And so together they just worked, and we won so much. It's hard to go away from that. Football, I definitely got to take Coach Carter and Coach Bean. I'm taking them two. Basketball, I'm taking Coach Mo and Coach Fred Morris.
Coach Mo, that's one of my good.
And Coach Boozy, don't kill me. I'm taking Coach Boozy. I got 3 basketball coaches.
No, Ken, you don't get to do that. That's too many basketball coaches.
All right, then I'm gonna leave. Well, I'm closer with Boozy, so I'm gonna take Boozy and Fred.
Okay, it's fair. It's fair. Fair is fair.
I got life outside of this podcast, man.
We got to live our lives, right? We got relationships, right?
I got relationships I got to cultivate.
Football, I take Coach Carter to coach with me. Definitely Coach Carter. And let me see. Coach Denny. I played JV when Denny was the varsity coach. So I didn't actually play for Denny as the head coach. And at the time, I talked about it when I did my interview. I didn't realize that Denny was trying to get the best out of me, but I was so immature, not knowing that he telling me, hey, you missed all of this, man. You're going to be playing JV again. That really was a sign that, hey, work harder if you want to play varsity. Not, I hit the transfer portal early. There wasn't even a transfer portal back then. I'm out. I can't do that JV again. I'm cool. So definitely I would love to coach with Coach Denny and Coach Carter. Those my two.
And if I do get it, I definitely taking my dad. My dad, he never really got ingrained in it. But my dad is a hell of a coach when he does coach.
Yeah, Kenny, if I get a chance to add, I got to take Coach Gary Adams, UCLA. I got to take my skip. I can't pass up baseball without giving him a nod. But we've been talking about Oakland Babe Ruth so much. Those guys were embedded in me, and we were getting ready to do something before the pandemic hit. I was getting ready to coach with 2 good friends of mine, Coach Eddie Abrams and Coach Will Ash and Coach Steve Singleton. We were getting ready to put together a comeback coaching staff that I would have loved to coach with those guys because we were always rivals. We never got a chance to coach together. So that's why it's hard to pick those guys. But when we were getting ready to coach together, I was looking forward to it.
Man, that's a hell of a staff. I actually wanted to ask you about that because I'm not sure of the age differences. But were you catching at UCLA when Will was at Cal?
No, see, I'm about 4 or 5 years behind Will.
Got you. Okay.
But Will was one of my idols and examples of going to D1 and playing ball because I watched him play Babe Ruth, American Legion, with Doggy Diner, St. Liz. So I've watched those guys above me, and Will was the first one that I had heard of going to D1, playing baseball at Cal. That was impressive.
when you got there, at UCLA and was able to play Division I, man, playing any Division I sport is incredible, right? And then you guys traveling to go play other teams. What was the record like Pac-10 back then? How did you guys do with UCLA and all that?
Well, my first freshman year back then they had JV.
Oh.
So I made the JV team as a walk-on, and we had a great time, great record. We played a lot of the small colleges and a lot of the JCs on our JV team. So we were like, well, we had a really good team because a lot of our freshman guys were selected to play varsity when they weren't playing down on JV. So we had a good team. Probably won maybe 25-5. You know, we didn't lose a lot of games. You know, at that time was my best hitting average. I hit 341. You know, I'm playing shortstop and I'm catching. But the last 3 years, 76, we win the CIBA, we win the championship. We were able to beat USC. Junior year, we struggled a little bit. Senior year, we were one game away from the College World Series. So we had some good runs. My senior year was probably by far the best because, you know, I just tore it up against SC. Of course, you know, they were perennial, you know, state, you know, perennial international champions. But that was my best era. My best era was probably my senior year. And then, of course, starting my first game ever as a sophomore, and my first game in league was against USC, and we upset them 9-0. You know, I remember, I never seen so much trash talking until we start playing the rivals.
I was about to say, was the baseball rivalry at USC just as big as the football rivalry?
Bigger.
Because
see, baseball's a slower game. So talking trash in between pitches and innings and outfield when the guy's on second base, you know, I'm playing shortstop now and guys telling me at first base he's taking me out if it's a double play or a ground ball. Oh, it got to be real intense. You know, but my boys had my back. I got to give them credit. You know, my UCLA guys had my back. Yeah.
I'm not sure the age gap on this thing, man, but when you were at UCLA playing in this USC rivalry, this is you there before Mark McGuire and them was there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because when you said it, I'm thinking
before McGuire. I graduated in 78. McGuire and them were after me.
Okay, because I remember seeing pictures from the McGuire USC team. It's McGuire, Randy Johnson, like they on that team. I'm like, shit, they had a Hall of Fame. they had a major league team at USC during those eras, man. So just to hear that you say that we know what the football rivalry is like. I even know what the track rivalry is like, the dual meet, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the dual meet, USC versus UCLA, it's an after party for that meet.
Oh, big time.
Big time after party for that meet, right?
Right. So, I went to school with a bunch of All-Americans in track.
Absolutely,
basketball.
Right?
Oh, man, it was unbelievable campus. Unbelievable campus.
Yeah, so to see that baseball have the same effect on that rivalry as well was like, that's crazy, right?
Exactly.
It's one of the things that I wish most youth in our society are able to witness, right? Witness some of the rivalry, like baseball players and stuff. Go out and watch Cal versus Stanford if you like the sport, right? I don't care what sport it is, football, basketball, baseball. Just go watch the college games. And I don't think our youth take advantage of it enough because we do have two big-time universities right in our backyard, right?
Exactly.
We're not there enough to go show those things. Because I remember when I first came into sports, of college sports, it wasn't on out here. It was me watching the program. Like when I saw the movie The Program, I'm like, oh, I got to go play in college, right? And then it was like Necessary Roughness come out after that little fake movie. But that what college was like. I can imagine what my mind would have been like if I saw it firsthand. If I'm at the Cal versus Stanford rivalry and football at Cal Stadium, you're like, oh shit, I'm ready to go hit the books now. I got to get to one of these schools. And I don't think we just not show that our kids that enough. We do enough of it now. We do enough of it now because a lot of the colleges, and we got young dudes that take the kids to the youth to the games, but I don't hear about it enough with baseball though, and that's what we need to do.
Big
more
time
of.
rivalries.
Big time rivalries.
Because
right?
see, you got the pitchers throwing at the hitters. Back when my day, all that stuff was going on. You clearing the benches, and that was a cardinal rule in baseball. If you didn't clear the bench, teammates were like looking at you like, what you doing still sitting on the bench? See, now you can't clear the bench because they're throwing everybody out.
Oh,
yeah. So if you cross that chalk line, whoever gets across that line and you're on the field, see, now everybody's got to go. So they changed all that.
Oh, wait, time out. Back up. Hold on. I missed that. They was clearing the bench in college?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Dude.
If you we'd have situations like, how the guys are flipping the bats now?
Uh-huh.
You flip the bat back in the day, you going down. The guy hitting behind you, he's the guy getting hit.
Oh, wow.
Because see, once you flip that bat and you show up the pitcher, he says, okay, go ahead. Next pitch, the guy that's at the plate, he's going down.
Oh, it's going to be two fights. It's going to be us clearing the bench and then me fighting you for flipping that bat.
But see, what ends up happening is if he gets hit, now he charges the mound. See, now you got to come off the bench. You can't sit on the bench.
Yeah. Lo, if you batting before me, don't flip that bat, bro.
Hey,
don't flip that bat.
No. I'm flipping the bat, though. But here's the thing, though. Right? It'll be all over ESPN now, bench clearing brawl.
Let me tell you something. I play shortstop. My buddy plays second. I told my pitcher, he flipped that bat, you get the next guy, and all you do is run back to second base. We got it. we got you.
Okay.
So anybody coming out to the mound, we got you. And our catcher, he was like, hey, well, he won't get that far. See, but that was part of our era. And when you see this now, guys sitting there watching his home run, he flipping the bat up, and all that stuff. Oh, no. That didn't take place.
Yeah, I probably could. Yeah, I probably got to hit the next batter, kid, because I can't stay on the mound and wait to 9 batters till you get back up. No. I can't wait to that. My emotions running. I'm the next person to get it. So Coach Mo, after you finished playing, did you get drafted? After your college career, did you get drafted to the league?
Yeah, June 10th, 1978. June 16th, 1978. I was a 10th round pick to the Padres.
Wow.
Nice.
What was that like? What was it like?
I'm gonna tell you, one of the greatest moments in my life. I'm at school. My coach told me he thought I would be a free agent. He didn't think I'd get drafted. He said, you'll probably be a free agent, so I'll help you get a job as a free agent. Okay, great. So I went to school. I went to class. So, I know the draft's going on. I'm walking back to my dorm, my apartment, and my buddy's roommate's running down. They call it Bruin Walk. All the kids are walking up and down campus, and she's screaming at the top of her lungs. She said, Mobil, you just got a call from the San Diego Padres. He said, they want to talk to you. So the whole walk was like, oh, wow, because, they knew I played baseball. I get to my room. I call the Padres, and of course, they asked me if I'd like to become a San Diego Padre. Best moment in my life. Can't take that away from you. When you get drafted, because it's like they're saying, we want you.
Absolutely.
I drafted.
Kind of like
10th round.
Kind of like what Frank Summers was saying, man, when he got drafted in the 5th round for the NFL, man. It was like, I got picked here. I feel like, it wasn't a free agent signing. I came here, and it made it feel even more better when he arrived in Pittsburgh. So I can only imagine that feeling, man. But it's crazy. So we got you. You done been all through the coast, man. You done been through the whole California. You started in Oakland, go to LA for college, then you back down here for San Diego with the Padres, right? How was it when you first got into their farm system, though? Before we get out of here a little bit, how much when you got into their farm system?
I was in their farm system. When you get drafted, they sent me up to rookie ball up in Walla Walla, Washington. The year before I got drafted, when you look up the history, they drafted Ozzie Smith to the same position, shortstop. He went a year ahead of me. I go to the same place he went to thinking I had great success up in Walla Walla. I was player of the year that summer in Walla Walla, but they didn't send me as high as they sent Ozzie. They sent Ozzie to the big leagues, and they sent me to A-ball, which was part of that business. So I bummed around in the minor leagues, eventually got injured. So that shortened my career. Tried to do a little tag along with different other teams. But, once I tore my ankle up, playing shortstop was a little difficult. But the years I played, I had great opportunity, great chance to play. And that's where I talk about the educational piece. You never know when your life's going to change and when sports is over. I got to go to work. You got to go get a job, and you got to go take care of self and feed family. And of course, my first wife, we were married at that time. But I had a great time. It was great going to spring training. Got a chance to see some of my childhood buddies at spring training. Ricky, Gary Pettis, a bunch of us, we were all at spring training at the same time. Guys that, I knew from my college days. And so it was a great feeling. I wish it could have went further, but it gave me an opportunity to come back eventually and do what I did as far as the coaching ranks. I mean, I got a chance to do the coaching ranks. My education got me a pretty decent job eventually. So, and as you guys probably know, Kenny knows, I just retired from that job after 30 plus years. So it all worked itself out. And when I tell kids, you're going to get that success, it's an exciting moment, make the most of it, because it's going to come to an end. It's going to come to an end.
So Coach Bo, before I get you to send us out of here real quick, I want you to talk to the kids, man, because the kids listen. I know you got your grandson that you talk to, right? And I know you're in his ear constantly, right? But talk to all the grandsons right now, right? And just give them some advice on education, the thing, stand away from some of the violence that we witnessed in Oakland. It's going to sign us out because I can't use this as a clip, and it's coming from someone that's seen all the generations. And I'm pretty sure so many countless of players that come to Oakland that just made the wrong turn and things just went right when, someone could have told them. And if they didn't tell them, I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk to this generation right here about the education, being in the right crowd, making smarter decisions, man. Then I'm going to let that sign us out because I know you preach that to your son as well.
All the time. Like I tell my grandson, and I'm telling you young men, understand something. You've got to be a student athlete. It's the only way you're going to be successful. And, the educational piece will help you when it's all over. And then the educational piece while you're in school will keep you in school and keep you eligible. You got to go to study hall. You got to get your homework assignments. You got to make sure you study at home. You got to make sure you get good grades and making sure you prepare yourself to take these tests and do what you need to do to be a good student. That is an important piece that we sometimes forget. Just because you're a good athlete doesn't make you a good student. It makes you a better teammate. If you're better at a subject, then help your teammate. I was good at math, so I helped my guys in math. I had guys who could write. They were good English guys. They helped me in English and writing my papers and getting prepared. But do not take school for granted, because what happens is when as you're coming through, it's going to help you manage your money. It's going to help you manage your time. It's going to help you be on time. That's a big factor, being on time. It's going to help you learn how to read the playbook. It's going to help you how to retain that information. See, we don't think that that's important until they give you a playbook and says, okay, study this playbook. And you need to know the first 10 plays when you come out to the practice field. See, that educational piece is big. Don't take it for granted, And then on the playing field, be the first one on, the last one off. That ain't a cliche with me. I worked 30 years at this job. First guy at the job, last guy to leave. Even when I became a supervisor and a boss. I'm first guy on, last guy off. Even though I could go home early, didn't have to be there all day, but I'm there till it's over. You're not going to outwork me. Don't let them outwork you, fellas. Don't let them outwork you. You know, don't let them outwork you. You know, I talked about the family piece. You know, don't let them outwork you. You know, I mean, I'm always busy. I'm always working. I'm always looking to improve. You know, even in the retirement life, you know, you're not going to outwork me. You know, I'm going to get work done. I'm going to get it done. I got things to do. But you young men, you got a great opportunity. You know, I mean, it's at your fingertips. Look at what they're offering out there. You got access to go across the country at a touch of a button, you know, to reach others. Get that information. If anything I say in here that helps you, take it and use it. Because at my age, I'm still learning. See, I'm still learning. I'm still getting educated. You know, I mean, I'm still getting educated, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know, and take care of your teammates. Be a good teammate, you know, and I'll sign off with this. I told my guys, don't not discredit your moms. You know, your moms are there. Mother's Day, make sure you acknowledge them. Birthday, make sure you acknowledge them. Your dads, you're going to get your day. You know, it's Father's Day. But make sure you make sure those boys and girls take care of their moms. You know, you got to take care of your moms because they're the ones that's there when you come home. There's dinner. When you come home, there's all the things that you need. You know, clothes prepared, they're taking care of you, doing the things at home while you're out doing the coaching part. You know, it's a team effort. It's no cliche with me. It's a team effort. You know, Karen will tell you, it's a team effort. Taught Aaron how to wash his uniform. You know, showed him how to put it in the bathtub, throw that tie in there, let it soak. Rinse it out, throw it in the dryer. We're ready for the next day. You know, that's what I'm talking about. See, teaching them. So, and I'll leave you guys with this. So when Aaron went off to college, you know, he knew a little bit about washing clothes and things like that. See, and that's another part of getting ready to go to college. You know, you got to teach them little things. You know, it's your uniform, get it washed, get it done. Belongs to you. Those your cleats, get them polished. You know, that's your equipment. Check your bag. Make sure you didn't leave one of your cleats in your room. You know, check your bag. Make sure if you take your glove out, put it back in your bag. See, teaching you young guys, what I'm teaching you and I'm telling you right now is that you got to prepare. You know, you got to plan. See, there's a plan A and there's a plan B, C, D, E, and F. You know, you got to prepare. You know, you got to prepare. You never know. Like you said, you'd have been in the portal, you know, jump in the portal and say, hey, look, it ain't working. I'm going somewhere else. I got to go do something else. And now that's what you see now. These guys are, you know, going to the portal. These guys are smart young men saying, hey, I'm going to go to this program. It fits my criteria. But you cannot transfer to the portal if you have no grades. They're not taking you.
The transcripts ain't right.
Transcripts aren't right. It ain't happening. No grades, no play. You know, I've been saying that since I was at Tech in the 10th grade, and I saw what happens when the grades come out. That was one of the most difficult sights as a coach to see.
Oh yeah, I was part of that group.
You know, when your guy tells you he's academically ineligible.
Absolutely.
So what are you doing here at high school? All you gotta do is go to school, go to class.
Absolutely.
You know, there ain't nothing cool about cutting class. You will pay for it in the end. You will.
Absolutely.
Pay for it in the end.
Hey, man, we want to thank you for coming on, Mob, and sharing this wonderful story. You done gave us so many gems in here, man.
Yes.
And one of the things I'm hoping come out of this, or I hope if it don't come out of this, it happens, that we can get some of the Oakland A's or in Major League Baseball to come have them conversations with the inner city of Oakland, putting the things together, putting the Hank Aaron thing at the Oakland Coliseum. AT&T Park, whatever you guys got to do, right, man, keeping our players engaged in Oakland, man, it'd be a great look. So thanks. I know you, and hearing you say it, I know it ain't a conversation you just had here. You've been having that conversation and trying to push the narrative and keep it going, man. So I'm hoping that can happen, man. Definitely, I hope when our story gets shared, this podcast come out, people are able to see you and hear it and can buy into it and come more of a collective thing for you, for not just for you, for the city of Oakland, man. I'm hoping that happens, man. Before they tear this whole thing down here, man, and start trying to move it, because once they move it in certain areas, they like everything go, it become reachable to our communities even more, right? So hopefully that thing can happen. It can happen really fast, man. And for all the baseball players that did that made it, give back to these communities, man. We talking about the Jimmy Rollins and then them guys, man. Come give back, come help with the Oakland, help, because it was all our stable point at one time. It's a stable thing for our environment. So definitely come give back, man. But shout out to Coach Mobil, man, for all of those, Jim. If your name didn't get mentioned, blame it on the mind and not the heart, man. Because Coach Mobil picked who he picked, Ken picked who he picked, and I picked mine, man. So blame it on the mind. We pick them,
but you know, all you guys, like I said, they were all all-stars. They all played well. You know, it's all in terms of your interpretation of what you thought and what we do. But, you know, like I say to you, Kenny, you and Lo, thank you guys for having me on. You know, if MLB taps on your door, you know, I'd love to sit down with them, you know, because there's generations and generations of kids to come. You know, don't buy into the myth. Don't buy into the myth. It's not true. You know, if you want to know, you want to hear the truth, tell them to hit you guys up on your podcast, because you're telling the truth. It's not a myth. You just named a bunch of young men who are playing this game at a high level. And if you want more of us playing this game at a high level, you know, make it be known.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Coach Mobil, man. Thank you. Appreciate you for coming on.
Right on, guys.
Ooh. All right.
Well, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Rec Center Podcast. Again, we just want to thank Coach Mobil Cox for coming on, sharing all those amazing stories. Like Lo said, man, blame the mind, not the heart. But I know you guys are going to say something anyway. We don't take it personal. We just happy you guys watching and enjoying the content. So if you ain't talking, we ain't doing something right. Definitely like us on Instagram at the Rec Center Podcast. Right now, click the subscribe button, become a subscriber so you can hear all the amazing content and guests that we bring on in the future on our YouTube page at the Rec Center. I'm Kenny Edwards for Lorenzo Parham. We out.